before smashing into a grandmother's home. This is Alice Pooley's exclusive report.
Balga around 12:30 this afternoon. The 38-year-old man behind the wheel of this stolen black Ford almost got away, but he sped past undercover detectives. With the unmarked police car on his tail, the alleged thief keeps going. The 9 News chopper following too from Balga to Mirrabooka. The driver narrowly missing other cars as he veers onto the wrong side of the road at more than 100 kilometres an hour. And onto the curb. On U Court, he's trapped in a dead end, swerves, then ploughs straight into a home. The 73-year-old who lives here was home at the time, just a few metres away from the impact.
Mum was terrified, I think, and just looking at her when we arrived, she was very tearful and highly emotional and, yeah, just extremely stressed. As we keep saying, she's lucky to be here.
When the wanted man crashed into this property, police and detectives were just a few seconds behind him. He managed to get away by running over fences. He left his car still running. The man's caught on camera from the 9 News chopper, then detectives pull up. Police then flood the area, the dog squad and Polair too. Officers eventually close in, arresting the man found hiding next door to the home he crashed into. It'll be days before this grandmother can go home. Her Mitsubishi, which she'd just bought, could be a write-off. The driver has been charged. He didn't have a licence. Alice Pooley, 9 News.
And overnight, another dangerous police chase through the northern suburbs. This time it started in Mirrabooka just before 7:30 and ended in Inglewood when the stolen car slammed into 2 fences. It's alleged the car hit 140 kilometres an hour, swerving onto the wrong side of the road and driving through the Beaufort Street night markets. Residents amazed no one was hurt.
And there was an elderly lady next to me ready to cross the road. I grabbed her and pulled her back and heard screech of tyres and then a police siren, spun around, and no sooner we heard the noise, we seen the vehicles come flying around the corner.
A 28-year-old man was charged with 10 offences, including driving recklessly and possession of methamphetamine. A 14-year-old passenger was questioned by police. A low act has left a Mandurah mother heartbroken. Thieves stole her stillborn son's ashes during a break-in. They also trashed her home, taking everything, including the light bulbs.
Let him be back with us, where he's safe.
An emotional plea from Mandurah mum Kelly Cook. Thieves smashed their way through the roof of Kelly's home last Thursday, stealing almost everything they could lay their hands on, even light bulbs. But what hurts the most is the fact that they also stole the ashes of her stillborn baby boy, Anthony.
Losing that is kind of just like, it's losing a child really all over again, because that's all I have of his.
It wasn't until the next day that Kelly noticed her most treasured possession was missing. The ashes were in a box along with ultrasound photos, as well as Anthony's hand and footprints.
It hurts to know that I'm probably not going to see them again.
Kelly's mum Cheryl says her daughter's devastated by the theft.
It's not right.
Those precious little things that you get to keep are all you have. It's all you have.
For Kelly, this couldn't have come at a worse time. Tomorrow would have been Anthony's 6th birthday. And she says she'll do anything to get the ashes back.
Bring it back. Bring it home. Let him come home.
Ben Hennessy, 9 News.
The parents of little Riley Hughes, who died from whooping cough, say they're working hard to make a difference for other children. Greg and Kath Hughes say their son's memory will live on through a national focus on vaccination.
Greg and Kath Hughes' little boy Riley died a fortnight ago.
It was horrific. And then the last couple of weeks have just been an absolute blur.
4-week-old Riley had whooping cough. As his parents come to terms with losing him, they're also trying to make a difference. Campaigning to protect other children, raising money for research, already over 30,000 donated from friends and complete strangers.
We've got people around the world contacting us, reaching out to us, asking how they can help. We've got things that we're communicating, being translated into multiple languages.
And they have this plea to all parents.
To us, it's all about the pertussis, the whooping cough. That's what killed him, and that's what we're here. We want to educate people and encourage them to vaccinate.
We understand that not everyone can donate, but if you can't donate, make sure your boosters are up to date again. I can't reiterate that enough.
Riley was too young to be immunised against the disease. He's already left a legacy. Days after his death, the state government approved free vaccinations to all pregnant women.
He's done more than I could have ever dreamt of doing myself, so I'm really, really proud of him.
Oliver Peterson, 9 News.
Former Eagles star Daniel Kerr has made a brief court appearance, accused of dousing a Glendalough home with petrol and threatening to set it on fire. The 31-year-old has moved to Denmark to play football and is keen to get legal proceedings behind him.
I've got to turn up to court. I missed work today, but I understand it's something I have to do and it's something I have to get past. And yeah, it's a long drive, but I've got to do it.
Obviously, a positive opportunity for you going down south.
Yeah, it's going to be fun playing football, and it's good to do an honest day's work.
Kerr is awaiting trial over the charges. He'll face court again on May 19. 24 hours after he was killed, police have identified the man involved in a cycling accident in Willetton. The Chinese tourist was riding without a helmet on High Road when he crossed into the path of a car. Police had trouble identifying the 65-year-old man as he had no ID on him at the time and was in the country on a holiday. A fireman is fighting for life after falling through the roof of a burning home and straight into the inferno. The confronting moment was caught on camera.
A fireman bravely trying to douse the flames on a burning home in California when disaster strikes. The roof gives way, swallowing the fireman in plumes of smoke, followed by a burst of flame. Witnesses scream for rescuers to save him from the inferno.
Get him out! Open it up! Get him out!
In a heart-stopping moment, fellow firefighters tear down the garage door and rush into the burning building and drag their colleague out.
Once they extracted the firefighter out of the garage, they removed his clothes, doused him with water, and as they took his uniform off, he was burned from head to toe.
He was rushed to hospital in a critical condition with burns to 60% of his body.
Firefighting is an inherently dangerous operation. We routinely step out and we put ourselves in harm's way.
The 25-year-old firefighter had climbed to the roof to try and ventilate the building, a standard procedure, when it gave way without warning. The person who posted the video, which has since gone viral, says she wouldn't hesitate doing it again.
They do a brave thing every single day.
In Los Angeles, Christina Hearn, 9 News.
Relatives of the 2 Australians killed in the Germanwings plane disaster have visited a memorial in the French Alps. Mal Coram and his 2 daughters laid flowers in honour of his sister Carol Friday and her son Greg, who were among the 150 killed. It comes as investigators look into claims co-pilot Andreas Lubitz had been treated for suicidal tendencies in the past. The mining booms helped Perth hit a population milestone, the city passing the 2 million people mark and keeping its spot as Australia's fastest growing state capital. Mandurah, WA also boasts the Aussie suburb with the biggest boom.
Well, that's right, Tim. 30 years ago, Perth lagged behind Adelaide. They beat us to 1 million people, but today we've beaten them to 2 million, with the Perth suburb of Baldivis recording the largest population growth of any Australian suburb, up 3,500 people in the past year. Now, others on the boom list include Ellenbrook, Forestdale, Yanchep and Byford, but lots of other suburbs closer to the city are also feeling the squeeze as density increase. Those hardest hit with more than 3,000 people per square kilometre include Chewett Hill, Scarborough, Innaloo and North Perth. Now, these figures are from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. It says that it shows that most of the people who came to Western Australia for the mining boom decided to stay, probably because of opportunities in housing, education and in general overall lifestyle. But it also puts the spotlight on our city's transport, health and infrastructure and whether it can support all of these people. Tim.
Elle, thank you. Australia's TV stars, past and present, have turned out to farewell Stuart Wagstaff. There were even some words from the man himself, a posthumous email, ensuring he got the last laugh.
They're all stars in their own ways, but today Stuart Wagstaff's friends all described him the same way.
Oh, he was always a devil, but such a nice one. He was naughty. Deliciously naughty.
He was a scallywag with a wicked sense of humour.
Yes, he was smooth.
Jolly good.
A gentleman of another generation.
You see, I remember the days when I was a young actor in England, just after the war, and Which war? The second... the one I won.
But he was playful and racy.
And somewhere, I know those dirty jokes are being told with absolute gusto. There was one about a donut, but I won't go there.
He worked hard for charities and...
Through the middle.
Good evening. Two young sisters have spoken of the moment a car ploughed through their living room, trapping them underneath. The girls, just 8 and 9, were sleeping on the couch when an allegedly drunk driver smashed into their home.
They're bruised, scratched and shaken, but incredibly, 9-year-old Shakiba and her 8-year-old sister Freeba are okay.
Look at that, bruises, look at that.
They were sleeping in the living room of their Mirrabooka home as a special school holiday treat when at 3 a.m. a car came crashing through, pinning the sisters underneath.
I was under the car and I saw something black and I tried to move it, but it was so heavy. I saw something black too, and there was glass too in front of us.
There were 5 other family members home at the time.
Yeah, my mom was crying, my dad was yelling. I don't know, we thought they were dead.
Shakiba and Freeba were trapped underneath the car for about 3 minutes. Meantime, the walls were falling around them. Thankfully, these heavy bricks landed on top of the car instead of on top of them. The girls were freed and taken to hospital for x-rays, but were given the all clear. The Yawari family says it's a miracle, especially given the damage that's been left behind.
Look at this big wall. I don't know how this got here.
The 22-year-old driver of the Holden Commodore ran away after the crash.
He was trying to run away, but my dad trying to get him, but he just ran away and later on the cops caught him, luckily.
Police are investigating whether he was drunk. Rachel Carey, 9 News.
9 News.
Hoon drivers have been caught on camera in a covert police sting in Queensland. Dramatic footage shows one of the cars flipping before slamming into a tree.
The Holden Commodore caught the attention of police from the air when it started driving erratically, doing donuts and burnouts at Yatala. The car is tracked by the police helicopter. Ground crews tried to make it stop. Stanmore Road lined with other cars, onlookers, as the Commodore speeds past through a red light, almost hitting another car before losing control. It crashes into a streetlight, becomes airborne and then slams into a tree and starts to smoulder. Onlookers rush to help, visibly shaken. Police spring into action to help those inside.
I've got 2 males trapped in the motor vehicle. There was a female down there that I believe came out of that car, ran up to the officers when they arrived.
One of those passengers, a 19-year-old boy, has a broken neck. A 17-year-old girl suffered minor cuts and bruises, as did the 20-year-old driver. Ebony Cavallaro, 9 News.
Yeah, Monday.
We're about to take you on patrol with police on a ride-along with one of the newly formed response teams. The small teams work the streets answering calls for help. And as you're about to see, they're kept very busy.
Mandurah, it's early Friday night, trouble has already started. This is one of WA's newly formed response teams. An early job, this man accused of threatening his partner. He was carrying a knife strapped to a pole when a response team found him. A tense moment for officers.
He had hold of a hunting knife that was pointing directly towards me. He also had a hunting knife in his mouth that was also pointing in my direction as well. At that point, I've got my taser out and I've put the red dot on him and I've told him to drop the weapons immediately.
The response teams work on foot and on the roads, intercepting drivers. This father was picked up drink driving his 2 young kids in the car. Nearby, another drink driver, this time a young woman. She backed her car into a bollard while police are there refuelling. Breathalyzed, she blows .27, over 3 times the legal limit.
Why am I even talking? I'm going to get done anyway.
The response teams are not all about reactive policing. There's proactive tasking as well. Here a wanted woman gets a surprise visit.
Do you know where she's moved to?
No, I really don't.
It took the officers less than a minute to find the woman they wanted. She didn't seem to offer any resistance, but they've called for backup, and as we speak, they're arresting her inside.
She's been charged by Mandurah Police recently in relation to some stealing offences, and as a result of failing to appear in court, the Mandurah Magistrates Court issued a bench warrant for her arrest.
The arrests keep coming. This man broke a violence restraining order. He is locked up too. And sometimes those breaking the law do the opposite of run. This FIFO worker drove into Mandurah Police Station around midnight, blocking officers' cars. He claims he was robbed, but then tells Sergeant McDonald he's too drunk to move his car.
This is man. You've been placed under arrest. I'm not aggressive, am I?
Settle down.
Calm down. I'm quite calm. Independent people, have I said a swear word?
There's a pipe and relaxing herbs in his car too. WA Police has just undergone major reform.
There are now 8 large response teams of 86 officers working across the metropolitan area. You call, we come.
There's still detectives and specialist squads under the new policing model, but also new community teams who engage with the public and are easily accessible by mobile, and social media now used by every police station.
It already has started to give us that ability to better understand who is who. And who might be prone to being radicalised and drawn into some form of terrorist type activity.
Police want you to know who looks after you. Head to the Frontline 2020 website. Alice Pooley, 9 News.